Hi, I'm Shannon McFarland, the Clinical Mental Health Counseling Field Experience Coordinator at Lamar University. My colleagues and I in the Department of Counseling are thrilled that you've agreed to provide supervision for one of our trainees in an upcoming semester. Now, I know that your time is valuable, so this training will be short, yet rife with what I hope to be very helpful information for you. So let's get started. Students in the counseling programs at Lamar take 3 field experience courses. And they might be courses that you had to take for your training program also, so you probably are familiar with them. The courses are Practicum, Internship 1, and Internship 2. Now, all 3 courses require students to gain experience in the field before graduating and applying for licensure. The courses must be taken in the order presented here, as they are developmental in nature. Essentially, practicum is an introduction to the field, and during the practicum semester, students become familiar with policies and procedures at the practice side, and they start providing counseling services to clients. Following practicum, students take the internship courses, which require a greater devotion of time at the site. On this slide, on the slide that follows this one, I'll clarify the difference between direct and indirect services, but here I'll provide an overview of the required number of direct and indirect service hours per course. For practicum, there on the left, the first field experience course, students must log at least 40 hours of direct services and 60 hours of indirect services to clients over the course of one academic semester. Internships 1 and 2 together comprise what we call the internship experience. Each of them is a full semester course. So the full internship experience spans 2 full semesters. Students must complete a grand total of at least 600 hours by the end of internship 2. And to help them do that, we encourage them to aim for at least 300 hours during each semester of internship. Thus, for internship 1, we require students to finish the semester with at least 120 hours of direct services and at least 180 hours of indirect services. Then we require the same for internship 2, so that students complete the full internship experience with at least 240 total direct service hours and 360 total indirect service hours. Here I clarify the difference between direct and indirect services to clients. So essentially, direct services are services that are provided with the client present. And indirect services are all the things that counselors do without clients present to support clients' treatment. So examples of direct services listed to the left: counseling or co-counseling an individual client, a couple or a family, co-facilitating a group counseling session, conducting a psychosocial assessment with a client or a risk assessment, consulting with the client's family members, for example, parents of a minor client, reviewing a treatment plan with the client present, right? So all of these are direct services, and this list is not extensive. Regarding direct services, though, what's important for you to know is that Lamar's graduate student trainees are not allowed to provide telehealth services to clients. Therefore, all of their direct services must be face-to-face and must be provided at the practice site. Examples of indirect services to the right include writing a treatment note, which some might call a progress note or a case note for a client, and writing a treatment plan, attending a treatment team meeting, a training event, participating in site supervision and university supervision. Those both count as indirect service hours or time. And if the trainee is studying, doing some research on a topic that's related to a client's treatment, then that could also be considered indirect service time. Now, of course, these lists are not exhaustive, and one of your tasks will be to help the trainee classify the services that they provide correctly. And if you're not sure how to classify a particular service, then the trainee's practicum or internship instructor will be more than happy to consult with you about it. Now, this next piece of information is important for supervisors whose trainees' places of employment will double as a practicum or internship site. We require students in this situation to log time only for services that are qualitatively different than their regular job duties. For the supervisor, this might require a little creativity when planning opportunities for the trainee that are in addition to their regular job duties. And for the trainee, this might require additional time at the work site to provide the additional services. Finally, if you will be supervising a trainee who is providing services on a pre-K through 12th grade school campus, then it's important for you to know that your trainee is allowed to log time only for services that are clinical in nature. In other words, trainees at schools are not allowed to log time for tasks that are typical of school counselors, part of school counselor job duties. Each week, your trainee will log time for services on a weekly log sheet. Now, at this time, faculty, we're working to develop a more modernized way for students to log their time. But until we find a solution, trainees will log their time with an Excel spreadsheet, which you will need to review for accuracy each week and sign. While trainees are providing services at their practice sites, they must participate in two types of supervision: site supervision and university supervision. To the left, you see that site supervisors, like you, provide at least 1 hour of individual or triadic supervision for the trainee at the practice site. Individual supervision involves one supervisor with one trainee, and triadic supervision involves one supervisor with two trainees. And there are two important things for you to know about site supervision sessions. Firstly, site supervision must be conducted in person, which means that supervision sessions cannot be virtual. And secondly, if conducting triadic supervision sessions, both supervisees must be graduate students, and neither can be a licensed associate who's undergoing supervision for licensure. Now, there are some assignments that require trainees to record sessions that they conduct with clients. We understand that some sites do not allow recording of session clients. If your site will allow it, then we do have a consent form at Lamar University that we give to students for them to give their clients, that they submit to us so that we can verify that they obtain client consent for the recording. But if you do not allow recording at your site, then we ask you to, in order to help the trainee meet the requirements for the course, to instead participate in a mock session with the trainee wherein you perform the client role and then they perform the counseling role. And these are for assignments that will help them to evaluate their own counseling skills. At both mid-semester and at the end of the semester, you will provide an evaluation of the trainee's performance. And for each evaluation, you will complete parts 1 through 3 of the Counselor Competency Scale, or the CCS. Part 1 addresses counseling skills, Part 2 addresses professional dispositions, and Part 3 addresses professional behaviors at the site. Approximately 2 weeks before each evaluation is due, a paper version or an electronic version of the CCS will be provided to you. I encourage you to collaborate with your trainee when you complete each evaluation. If you score the CCS without the trainee present, then please follow up with the trainee to provide them with specific feedback for their scores. When evaluating your trainee, please do so from a developmental lens, right? It's probably not prudent to compare the trainee's performance to that of a seasoned professional in the field. Instead, consider how the trainee is performing in relation to his or her stage of training. We don't expect our trainees to be perfect before they graduate. However, we do expect them to be competitive with others whose training and experience are comparable. Additionally, it's good for the trainee to see evidence of growth from mid-semester to the end of the semester. So when completing the midterm evaluation, please leave the trainee room for growth in some areas, which will foster the trainee's continued development. As you know, your trainee's position at the practice site is of a temporary nature, unless the site is also the trainee's current place of employment. And thus, it's important for the trainee to prepare their clients for termination beginning with session 1. And a professional disclosure statement is a tool that the trainee will use to facilitate this discussion at the outset of client's treatment. Now, I understand that your practice site probably has standard forms for clients to complete, but we ask that you allow the trainee to include their professional disclosure statement, which they will construct for a course assignment, with the other paperwork that clients are given. The trainee statement will include information about the trainee's status as a graduate student, about their theoretical approach to counseling, and about other important aspects of their work at the site, which is important for clients to know. We do require your approval of the trainee statement before the trainee can disseminate it to clients. At a minimum, the trainee will need to start initiating additional termination talks with clients at least a month before the last day of the semester. And if the trainee will go on to work at your practice site for internships 1 and 2 after practicum, then there will be a break between each semester. And it's very important for you to know that we do not allow Lamar trainees to provide direct services to clients at their site before the first day or after the last day of each academic semester. This is a non-negotiable at our end, as it is a liability issue that we are unwilling to compromise. What I often tell my own practicum and internship students is that between semesters, they can maintain a presence at the site by attending treatment team meetings, attending training events, so on and so forth. But they can not provide direct services for clients. And if they choose to do that, the indirect only between semesters, then they cannot count or log any of the time for those services for their next field experience course. Now, when preparing clients for a break between semesters, we instruct our trainees at Lamar to have the type of conversation with clients that an employed clinician who is taking a 2-week vacation would facilitate with clients, with the primary goal of ensuring continuity of care for the clients until they return for the next semester. Now, I have only 2 more important topics to address before closing. First, in the event that your professional license expires during a semester in which you're supervising the trainee, then please follow this protocol. First, notify the trainee of the expired license, then transfer supervision responsibilities to another clinician at the site until your license is renewed. Once it's active again, you can resume supervision responsibilities, transfer those back to you. And finally, the trainee is required to maintain an active professional liability insurance policy throughout the duration of practicum, internship 1 and internship 2. If the trainee's policy expires, then the trainee must discontinue providing services. These are all kinds of services, both direct and indirect, until their policy is renewed, and then they can resume with services. If you have questions or concerns as you proceed through the semester with your trainee, then please let us know. Your first point of contact at the university will be the trainee's practicum or internship instructor. And if they cannot assist you, then our department chair, Dr. Belinda Lopez, will be happy to assist you from there. And again, Lamar faculty in the Department of Counseling, we are so grateful for your contribution to the trainee's professional development. Your service truly is paramount for the posterity of the counseling profession, and we appreciate it so very much.